The great chamber of the Galaxy Council was silent. Hundreds of alien delegates sat on their tall chairs, their eyes fixed on the center of the hall. Bright white light fell on a single figure standing there. It was a young human girl. Her hands were tied with glowing chains that burned against her skin. Her face showed fear, but behind her fear, there was also a quiet strength. She had been accused of a crime she did not commit. The charge was simple. She had spoken against the Council. She had questioned their power, and for the Galaxy Council that was enough. To them, one human life meant nothing. The Council leader, a tall alien with silver skin and hollow black eyes, spoke with a cold voice. "This human girl is guilty. She is a danger to the peace of the galaxy. Her sentence is death." A ripple of agreement passed through the chamber. Some aliens clapped their hands, others simply stared without emotion. To them, it was a normal day. Another problem solved. But the girl lifted her head. Her voice, though weak, echoed through the hall. "You think killing me will silence humans? You are wrong. You will see what happens when Earth awakens." The hall fell into a deeper silence. No one had expected her to speak like this. A guard struck her to the ground, but her words still hung in the air. Even the coldest aliens shifted uneasily. Outside the chamber, news spread fast. Across the stars, people whispered of the human girl who stood before the Galaxy Council and spoke of Earth's awakening. Most laughed at the idea. Earth was weak, they said. Earth was small, backward, and powerless. But on Earth, her words were heard differently. The humans who watched the broadcast did not laugh. They felt rage. They felt grief. She was only one girl, but she had become a symbol. And in the deep shadows of Earth, in places hidden even from most of its people, something began to move. The Council believed Earth had no strength. The galaxy had always seen humans as fragile, emotional beings who could be controlled easily. But what they did not know was that Earth had been preparing for decades. In secret, beneath mountains, under oceans, and even in the far reaches of their solar system, humans had built something they never showed to the stars. It was called the Hidden Fleet. As the girl's life ended in the cold hands of alien justice, silence covered Earth. There was no public reply, no declaration of war. It was as if the planet itself was mourning. But beneath the silence, deep under the surface, great engines began to hum. Doors sealed for 100 years started to open. On the surface, people carried on with their lives. Cities moved, lights shined, children played. But in the underground command centers, generals and scientists stood in front of glowing screens, watching as ancient systems came online. They remembered the girl's last words. "You will see what happens when Earth awakens." The suspense grew like a storm in the distance. In the council chambers, the aliens dismissed the event. They thought they had destroyed a small rebellion before it could grow. They thought humanity was too weak to fight back. They thought the matter was closed. But in the dark, Earth was patient. Hidden hangars under polar ice opened slowly, revealing the sharp edges of massive starships covered in frost. Oceans split apart as colossal doors rose from the deep waters, and black steel giants emerged, silent and unstoppable. On the moon's far side, bases that had been thought abandoned suddenly lit up with fire. Earth had not shown its hand for centuries. Now it was ready, and it was all because of one girl. Her story became more than her life. Her death was a spark that lit a fire across an entire planet. The galaxy had taken one human, thinking it would mean nothing, but it had awakened something they never imagined. The first signal was sent. It was short, only a few words, but it carried across every hidden base and secret fleet dock. It said, "Rise." The moment had come. Far away, alien patrol ships drifted near Earth's borders. Their scanners showed nothing unusual. To them, the planet looked quiet, harmless. They reported back to the Council. "No activity. Earth is silent." But they were wrong. Behind the clouds of Earth, hidden just beyond sight, the shadows of enormous ships moved. Their engines pulsed with blue light. Their weapons are ready. Crews sat in silence, waiting for the order that would change history. The girl's last words still echoed in the hearts of her people, and the galaxy, unaware of what was about to come, would soon understand what it meant to awaken Earth. The storm had not begun yet, but everyone who looked to the stars felt something in the air, something heavy, something dangerous. The galaxy had made its greatest mistake. It had killed a human girl, and because of that, Earth's secret fleet was about to rise. Earth's silence. Before the storm, Earth did not speak. Days passed after the girl's execution, and the galaxy waited for a reply. Some alien leaders expected angry protests, some expected desperate pleas for mercy. But none of these came. Earth remained quiet. The world spun on its axis, its blue oceans and green lands looking calm from space. To the Galaxy Council, this silence meant weakness. To humans, it meant something else. The silence was not a weakness. It was mourning. It was grief. And inside that grief was something stronger than the Council could ever understand. Across Earth's cities, people continued with their daily lives. Trains still moved across shining rails. Markets are still filled with voices and color. Children still laughed in the parks. On the surface, everything looked normal. But beneath the laughter, beneath the routines of ordinary life, people carried a weight in their hearts. They remembered the girl. They remembered how she stood in the chamber of the council and spoke without fear. And in secret, they waited. In underground command bunkers, the silence was heavier. Generals met behind thick steel doors. Maps of stars glowed on massive screens. Silent men and women pointed at alien sectors, whispering names and numbers. They spoke in quiet tones because the world above must not know what was coming yet. In the Arctic, a vast ice sheet cracked open. The sound was like thunder rolling across frozen plains. From beneath, a metallic tower rose into the air. Its surface was black steel, shining with frost. Its size was so great that the wind itself screamed around it. At the base of the tower, hidden doors opened one by one, and ships began to move. In the Pacific Ocean, the water shifted as if a monster moved below. Then, without warning, a circle of waves spread out as an enormous platform broke the surface. Water poured off its sides and waterfalls. On that platform, dozens of warships stood silent, their engines asleep, but ready to breathe fire. On the far side of the moon, a base thought dead for centuries flickered with life. First came the lights, then the hum of energy flowing through cables as thick as trees. Then, deep inside its hangars, ships the size of cities powered up. The Council did not see any of this. Their scanners showed nothing but Earth's ordinary signals. To them, the planet looked small and harmless, just as it always had. Their arrogance blinded them. They did not know that humans had mastered the art of hiding, waiting, and planning. For almost 100 red years, Earth had been building its secret fleet. It was born from fear of the galaxy, but also from hope. Humans knew that someday they would be tested. Someday the galaxy would no longer tolerate their independence. And so they built in silence, hiding their greatest weapons where no eyes could see. Now that silence was ending, the leaders of Earth gathered in a chamber buried miles below the capital. No sunlight reached this place. Only the glow of machines filled the darkness. At the center stood a single chair. The man who sat there was old, his hair white, his eyes tired. But his voice carried weight. He looked at the generals and scientists around him and spoke slowly. The galaxy believes we are broken. They believe we are powerless. They believe killing one child will silence us. But they have given us something stronger than all their fleets combined. They have given us a reason. The room remained still. No one dared interrupt. He raised his hand, and on the giant screen behind him, the image of the girl appeared. Her final words echoed in the chamber. You will see what happens when Earth awakens. There was no need for more speeches. Every person in the room understood. The silence of Earth would not last much longer. Far above, alien patrols circled the solar system. Their ships scanned and watched, reporting every detail back to the Council. Yet they missed everything. They saw the oceans, but not the hidden platforms beneath. They saw the ice, but not the doors cut into its heart. They saw the moon, but not the living shadows moving on its dark side. Humans had mastered patience. They knew war was not won by loud words or empty threats. War was won by timing, by striking when the enemy least expected it. And so Earth waited like a bowstring pulled tight, silent, but ready to snap. The people of Earth kept their grief inside. They told stories of the girl in whispers, her courage becoming a flame passed from one heart to another. In schools, in factories, in quiet homes, her name was spoken. She was no longer just one human. She was the voice of all of them. The Council had killed her to silence humans. Instead, they had united them. From space, Earth looked calm, just another blue planet. But those who looked closer felt something strange. The silence was heavy, unnatural, like the quiet before a storm. In the shadows of space, Earth's hidden fleet continued to wake. Engines hummed, weapons armed, lights pierced the darkness. One by one, ships rose from their slumber, their steel bodies trembling with power. The galaxy thought Earth was weak, but soon they would learn the truth. The silence would not last forever. It was only the silence before the storm. The galaxy believed Earth was still silent. Patrols reported the same message every day. No activity, no threat detected. To the Council, it was proof that humans were broken. They had lost one of their own, and now they had surrendered. But far from the Council chambers, on the edges of alien-controlled space, strange things began to happen. The first sign came to a patrol ship near the outer rim of the Sol system. Its crew of reptilian soldiers sat half asleep at their stations. The scanner showed empty space, only stars and dust. But then, suddenly the screens filled with static. Red warning lights flashed across the control room. "Signal interference," shouted the captain, his scaled hand slamming the console. "Where is it coming from?" The crew tried to trace the disruption, but nothing appeared on their systems. It was as if the stars themselves were shifting. Then, for only a second, a shadow moved across their radar. Enormous, silent, and gone before they could lock onto it. They sent a report back to the Council. The reply came cold and simple. "Ignore it. Human tricks. Continue patrol." But the crew felt fear. Something had brushed against them in the darkness. Something too large to be a simple trick. Days later, another patrol ship in a different sector vanished. Its last transmission was a scream of alarms, followed by silence. Search parties arrived, but there was no wreckage, no survivors, no trace of battle, only the emptiness of space. The Council dismissed it again. Accident. Technical failure, they said. But whispers began to spread among alien fleets. Ships were disappearing near human borders. Then came the message. It was not a normal signal. It did not travel on open channels. It slid through the dark like a whisper, touching every listening post at once. No one knew how it was sent, but everyone who heard it froze. The message was only 4 words. "You killed one. We rise." The words were spoken in a human voice, calm, but sharp as a blade. Panic began to creep into the ranks of alien soldiers. Captains ordered double patrols. Fleets circled closer to Earth, but the more they searched, the less they found. It was as if ghosts were moving through the stars, unseen and unstoppable. On Earth, the hidden fleet continued to wake. One by one, massive ships drifted out of their shelters, engines glowing like suns. Their designs were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Sleek, sharp, and built for war. Some carried weapons that could split moons. Others carried drones by the thousands, each one armed to strike with precision. But still, Earth did not speak. No broadcast, no official declaration of war, only silence until the first strike came. It happened near the mining world of Cathar 9, a planet rich in resources controlled by the Council. Dozens of alien ships orbited above it, guarding the mines. They had no reason to expect danger, but then, without warning, the stars shifted. At first, it looked like a trick of the light. But the darkness moved, and from it enormous human ships emerged. The alien commander shouted orders, but it was already too late. Beams of blue light cut through the void, slicing alien cruisers in half. Explosions lit up the sky like a storm of fire. Human ships moved with terrifying precision, striking and vanishing before the enemy could regroup. Within minutes, the fleet of Cathar 9 was destroyed. The planet's surface trembled as the human fleet shadow passed overhead. Then, just as quickly as they had appeared, the human ships were gone. The Council received the news in shock. For centuries, humans had been seen as weak, barely able to travel beyond their own solar system. Yet, here they were, unleashing weapons the galaxy had never witnessed. Still, the Council tried to hide the truth. They called it a pirate attack. They told their citizens not to fear. But soldiers knew better. They whispered the same thing across every barracks, every patrol ship, every war council. Humans have risen. More attacks followed. A supply convoy vanished near the star cluster of Vera. A council station exploded into dust without warning. Entire fleets were ambushed in deep space, destroyed by enemies they never even saw. And every time the same message echoed on hidden channels. You killed one. We rise. The fear spread. Even the bravest alien soldiers began to dread their patrols near Earth's borders. They said they could feel human eyes watching them from the dark. Some swore they saw shadows of warships drifting behind stars, only to vanish when scanners turned their way. In the council chamber, the leaders grew restless. Reports piled high on their desks, each one telling the same story. Humanity was no longer weak. Humanity had prepared in silence. Humanity had built an armada that could rival the galaxy itself. The silver-skinned council leader, who had sentenced the girl to death, stood before the assembly once again. His voice was calm, but his eyes betrayed fear. We have made an error. We thought humans were prey. We did not see that they were hunters waiting for their moment. But it was too late. The first signs of vengeance had already begun. The galaxy had taken one human life, believing it would end resistance. Instead, it had awakened a storm that would sweep across the stars, and Earth was only getting started. The rise of the hidden fleet. The galaxy could no longer deny it. What began as whispers had become undeniable truth. Earth had risen. Patrols that once mocked humans now refused to fly near their borders. Alien traders avoided the Sol system like it was cursed. Even powerful warfleets spoke in hushed voices about shadows in space, about fire that came without warning. But no one outside Earth yet understood the true scale of what was coming. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, titanic hangars fully opened for the first time. The waters shook as ancient doors older than most living humans slid apart. From the darkness below, colossal warships ascended. Their hulls were black steel, layered with armor that could withstand the fire of suns. Their engines glowed blue as they cut through the sea, rising higher and higher until they burst free from the waves and thundered into the skies. Cities on the coast looked upward as storm. Clouds gathered. The people did not scream. They did not run. Instead, they watched in silence as their hidden protectors rose. Children pointed at the sky as massive ships, each the size of mountains, disappeared into the upper atmosphere. Their parents held their hands tighter, knowing history was unfolding above them. On the frozen plains of Antarctica, more doors broke open. Ice shattered like glass, falling into the sea as a fleet of carriers lifted into the air. Their sides dripped with frost, but their weapons burned with light. The moon became alive with fire. Hangars cut into its rock release swarms of smaller ships darting into space like a storm of steel birds. Behind them came the giants, battle cruisers larger than cities, armed with weapons no alien eye had ever seen before. The hidden fleet was no longer hidden. On Earth, the silence ended. For the first time, human leaders broadcast a message not only to the Galaxy Council, but to every world, every colony, every star system within reach. The broadcast was simple. A human woman appeared on the screen, her face calm, her eyes burning with unshaken will. Behind her, the shadows of enormous warships loomed. Her voice was clear. "You killed a child. You thought it would break us. Instead, you have awakened what we have built in silence. For 100 years, we have prepared. We hid because we wished for peace. But now, you will see what Earth truly is. We are not prey. We are not weak. We are humanity. And we are risen." The message ended. In the council chamber, chaos broke out. Alien delegates shouted at one another. Some demanded immediate war. Some screamed for surrender before Earth destroyed them all. Others sat in silence, their minds haunted by the truth. They had provoked something far greater than they understood. Meanwhile, Earth's fleet moved. 1,000 ships departed orbit, their engines roaring against the silence of space. Their formations were precise, disciplined, as if every movement had been practiced for generations. Smaller ships flew like blades darting ahead to scout. Massive warships followed, their weapons glowing with blue fire. Every ship bore the mark of Earth, a circle of blue and white. With a single star in the center, the galaxy watched in awe. The first true battle came in the Hellar system. The Council sent one of its largest fleets to block Earth's expansion. Over 400 alien ships stood ready, armed with the most advanced weapons they possessed. Their commanders were confident. Numbers were on their side. But when Earth's fleet arrived, the battle was over before it began. The human ships moved like predators. Their weapons did not fire randomly, but with perfect precision. Alien cruisers exploded one after another, each strike cutting through shields and armor like paper. Earth's fighters swarmed enemy vessels, tearing through them like fire and dry grass. The alien fleet tried to regroup, but every move was anticipated. It was as if humanity already knew their tactics. In less than 1 hour, 400 alien ships were destroyed. Not a single human vessel was lost. Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. For the first time in centuries, the Council was afraid. Their power, once unchallenged, now trembled under the weight of Earth's rise. But Earth did not celebrate. The fleet did not pause to cheer. Instead, it moved forward deeper into space. On Earth itself, people stood taller. They knew they were no longer seen as weak. Their grief had turned into strength. The girl who had died at the hands of the Council had become the heart of their vengeance. Her name was spoken in every city, every ship, every home. She was no longer only a memory. She was the symbol of a world united, and still the fleet grew. From hidden bases on Mars, more ships emerged. From secret stations in the asteroid belt, swarms of drones launched into formation, from distant outposts beyond Pluto. Massive dreadnoughts awakened, their hulls carrying weapons powerful enough to tear apart planets. The galaxy had thought Earth was only one small world. Now it saw the truth. Earth was an empire hidden in plain sight. An empire forged in silence, waiting for the moment to reveal itself. The moment had come. As the hidden fleet rose in its full strength, one thought spread across alien worlds like a shadow. The galaxy had killed a single human child, and in doing so, it had given birth to a storm that would cover the stars. The unforgettable strike. The galaxy trembled. For centuries, the Council had ruled without fear. Its fleets crushed any resistance before it could grow. But now, the stars told a different story. Human ships moved like shadows through the void, striking with precision and vanishing before alien eyes could follow. Systems once loyal to the Council whispered about rebellion. Worlds that had once mocked Earth now watched in silence, afraid of what would come next. The Council finally made its choice. It would not wait for humans to grow stronger. It would destroy Earth before the storm spread any further. They gathered the largest armada in galactic history. Over 1,000 warships, each one armed with the most advanced technology known to aliens, were sent toward the Sol system. It was not just a fleet, it was a declaration. The Council would erase humanity once and for all. The armada entered the edge of human space with confidence. The alien commanders believed victory was already theirs. They told their soldiers that Earth would burn within hours. They promised their people that humanity's rise would end before it truly began, but they did not understand. Earth was waiting. As the alien fleet advanced, strange signals flickered across their systems. Communications failed. Navigation faltered. Sensors showed nothing but static. It was as if the stars themselves had turned against them. Then in the darkness ahead, lights appeared. One by one, massive ships emerged. Their black steel hulls glistened under distant suns. Their engines burned like blue fire. The hidden fleet had arrived. At the center of the formation was the flagship, larger than any ship the Council had ever built. Its hull carried scars from ancient construction. Its weapons glowed with power drawn from deep within the Earth itself. Across its bow, a single phrase was painted in white. For her. The battle began with silence. No words were exchanged, no warnings were given. Only the deep hum of engines and the cold emptiness of space. Then, humanity struck. The first volley came like thunder. Beams of light brighter than suns cut through the alien front line, splitting cruisers into dust. Missiles streaked across the void, their warheads burning with enough force to shatter moons. Drones swarmed out of human carriers, moving with speed no alien craft could match. The alien armada responded with all its firepower. Thousands of weapons lit up the dark, filling space with storms of energy. But the humans did not falter. Their ships twisted and darted with impossible precision. Every strike counted, every formation broken. Alien commanders shouted in panic. Their ships fell one after another, torn apart by weapons they had never seen before. Entire squadrons vanished in blinding explosions. Their numbers, once their greatest strength, now worked against them as chaos spread through their ranks. On Earth, billions watched the battle unfold on glowing screens. They saw their fleet move with the strength of a storm. They saw alien ships explode into fire, and they remembered the girl who had died at the hands of the Council. Her face appeared on banners. Her name echoed through cities. She had become the heart of their vengeance, the voice that carried through every strike. The flagship pressed forward, leading the charge. Its weapons unleashed firestorms that ripped through alien battleships. Its shields absorbed the heaviest blows without faltering. Behind it, the fleet followed with relentless force, a wave of steel and light sweeping across the stars. Hours passed, but to the galaxy it felt like only moments. By the time the fire faded, the armada of the Council was gone. Over 1,000 alien ships had been reduced to dust and wreckage. The humans had lost some vessels, but their fleet remained strong, their spirit unbroken. Silence returned to space. Only the wreckage of the Council's pride floated in the void. A graveyard of twisted metal and shattered ambition. The message was clear. Earth had struck, and the strike would never be forgotten. Across alien worlds, fear turned into certainty. The humans were no longer weak. They were no longer prey. They were hunters, stronger and more united than anyone had imagined. The Council tried to hide the truth, but it was impossible. Too many had seen the battle. Too many had heard the final human message broadcast across every frequency as the alien armada fell. You killed one. Now we rise forever. The galaxy understood. A single human life had been taken, but in return, an empire had awakened. Earth's silence had become fury, and that fury now stretched across the stars. And as the wreckage of the Council's fleet drifted through the void, one thought spread across every corner of the galaxy. The humans had delivered their vengeance, and this was only the beginning.